Hello, and welcome back to Neighbors Cooking. Gosh, we've been having so much fun with the Favorite Chef competition. As many of you know, I have moved into the quarterfinals. I am 3rd out of 10. Now remember, this competition started with 1,000 chefs. 1,000 chefs across the country, and we are down to 10 of us. So it is an honor just to be in this group of chefs as we battle it out to be favorite chef. But what's unique about this next 2 weeks, well, this week actually, is there's another competition within the competition. And that is Carla Hall gets to pick one plating, one chef's plate, one artistic design that they put up, they show their work, and they present a final product. I did mine just on Tuesday. We had a photo crew in, and we took all the pictures of all the steps. I've already put a video up if you want to look at it on Neighbors Cooking. It starts off with a big kind of American Idol looking thing that says Favorite Chef. So look for it on our page and watch it. We've only gotten this far because all of you have voted. You've continued to support and build this community. I've had over 100,000 views on the videos. It's incredible. And it's a little bit humbling too. So thank you all, each and every one of you, for all you've been doing in supporting and watching these and sharing them with your friends. Please don't stop. The competition is just getting hotter as each week goes by. There's only a couple more weeks left, and one of us will be heading to New York to cook at the James Beard Foundation. When I say one of us, I mean me, but one of us will be heading off to New York to cook at the James Beard Foundation with Carla Hall for a weekend in New York, sometime in September, so it'll be the perfect time to be in New York. I'm looking forward to going. I'm sure the other chefs are also looking forward to hoping to get to go, but I am bringing the heat. So today, in keeping with our theme of healthy eating and healthy recipes, we're doing a sweet and sour chicken recipe today, and it is by far probably one of the easiest recipes that you could make. Now, nothing complicated about it. You can do it in 30 minutes. It's super healthy, and I'm going to talk about the differences that we're doing in this sweet and sour chicken recipe versus regular. The main differences are in a sweet and sour sauce, you always have sugar, you have ketchup, you have your chicken or your shrimp or whatever protein you're putting in has been deep fried in a flour coating, and it gets pretty heavy. So we're taking out a lot of those items. We're taking out the sugar, we're taking out the flour, we're taking out all of the bad stuff, and we're coming up with a beautiful, delicious, easy to make meal. So we're going to start off because the chicken is what takes the most time. So I've got back here on the stove going my, I might set my alarm off if I'm not careful. I've got, all right, I'm going to turn my fan on here for a minute, guys. Sorry for the noise. I've got some coconut oil, and I got it a little bit hot, but the whole thing with coconut oil is you can get it a little bit hot, and it's all right. So I've taken some coconut oil, I'm heating it up on the stove, I'm cooling it off on the stove right now, and while that cools down just a little, we're going to start off with our chicken. So I've taken some chicken breasts and I've washed them and we've patted them dry. And what we want to do here is we want to cut our chicken into slices, not very thick because we need these to cook up fairly quickly for us, all right? So you should be able, it would probably take you about, for a family of 4, about a half hour to cook all the chicken pieces. It doesn't help that you put more in the pan when you're cooking it. So putting more in the pan only makes you have a crowded pan, and you never get that nice brown that you want. So you're cutting these up into about little 1-inch pieces, and so they'll all cook evenly. When I bought these chicken breasts, they were kind of thick, so I filleted them down in half, so I got twice as much meat as I would have than I thought I was going to get. And of course, we've already cooked some of these up because of the time. Now also, you know, I buy this chicken, I bought it from the butcher directly, and it's cheaper than buying it prepackaged. So the prepackaged stuff was $7 a pound, and it was on sale in the butcher case for $1.97 a pound. So all I had to do was trim it up a little bit and get some of that skin off, so which I was fine with. All right, so we've cut our chicken up. I've done 2 breasts. That's enough for 4 people. And I've put some cornstarch. So remember I said that in traditional recipes they use flour. We're using cornstarch, which can get pretty dusty. So that's why I've put it into a Ziploc bag. We're going to get just a light dusting on it, and it would help if you sealed it up correctly. We're going to get a light little dusting on it. And what cornstarch will do is you're still going to get that nice flavor, that nice crispiness, and that's what we want from this, is we want to get some crispiness so we still get that same texture that we usually get from the heavier floured up chicken. So I'm just taking this out of the bag and put it into a strainer, and I'm just getting off all that excess. There we go. All right. And then I'm going to place it into the pan. We'll put this back on the heat. When you're putting stuff in oil, don't drop it in. That's how you get the spray back, the burn on your hands. When you place it in oil, place your pieces away from you. So as you're placing them in the oil, and you won't get any spatter. My oil is nice and hot. But I'm not getting burned by it because I'm not dropping it into the batter or back into the oil. So we're going to put that in, and I know I'm powdering up all over my floor. Again, don't crowd the pan because it's just going to take you longer, and you're going to end up without that crispiness that you want in your chicken. All right. So I'm going to let that start cooking. We're going to keep it on about a 5 on a gas stove and just let that start to cook. We're going to switch out our cutting boards and our knives. Remember, if you're cooking with chicken, you've got to cut your vegetables on one cutting board, cut your chicken on another cutting board, and either wash your knives or get a clean knife when you are ready to start the next portion of your vegetable prep. So let's talk about what's going into our sauce and into the finished product. We're going to use 1 green pepper, 1 red pepper, that we're going to cut up and chop up into good-sized chunks. We've taken a large can of chunked up pineapple. If you have rings of pineapple in your kitchen already, just take them out and cut them up into little quarters. They'll be exactly the same. We've got some green onions. I've already cut some of the tops off because we aren't going to use those. We've got some, where'd my head just go? Garlic, 3 tablespoons of garlic, my onion. I've also got half a cup of tomato sauce. Traditional recipes, a lot of people use ketchup, a lot of sugar in ketchup, so we're just using a nice tomato sauce. We're also using some apple cider vinegar. And apple cider vinegar, if you're not familiar with it, it is like life's nutrition. This little gem that you can get, apple cider vinegar, will help you with reflux, with acid reflux. If you take it 3 tablespoons a day with some water to kind of take down the bitterness, your acid reflux will be non-existent. It helps with cholesterol. It's great for salads. It's great for what we're making today, sweet and sour chicken. It looks like it's kind of, it's unfiltered. It's cider vinegar is just apples, right? So it's a bunch of apples that have been crushed up and then fermented, and then an enzyme added into it that just makes it so good for you. So keep some of this in your kitchen. It's good for what ails you. I bet your grandmother or your great-grandmother probably always had this in their kitchen. So we're going to use a 1/4 cup of that, and we're going to use some honey, and we're going to use some low-sodium soy sauce. So let's get started with just what we need to cut up. And I'm going to check those. Good. So just, you don't have to have those on super high heat. You can let them cook while you're doing all of your other prep work. The prep work for this dish is super easy. So we start off with 1 yellow onion. And you know, when you go to your favorite Chinese restaurant and you order bowls like this, everything's pretty chunky. So you're going to cut your onion in quarters. And then you're going to cut it in half again. And those are going to be the chunks that we end up putting into basically our stir fry when we're done here. Let's get that little tail off. So this is just a white onion. Yellow, you can use a yellow onion. I like white onions, they're a little sweeter. We're also going to do a red pepper and a yellow pepper. So you're going to cut out the core. I usually just cut around the center and the whole thing will pop out for me. Cut it down the center, just like the onion. We're going to end up doing it in quarters. Take out any of this extra little white ribbing that you see inside, because you don't want that. So you see me look at the ground because I'm a dog household. I have 2 dogs. Both of them are kind of senior dogs. Gomez, who's 24, and Roxanne, who's 15. And so anytime I'm in the kitchen, so are they. And I don't want anyone to get hurt in the kitchen. There we go. And we're going to cut our pepper in half. Again, we're going to take out this little white rib from inside. All right. There we go. And again, we're just going to cut this into chunks. Now, you can have a variety of things that you put into your sweet and sour. It's typically bell pepper and onions. I sometimes see carrots in it. If you want to put carrots in, you can. We're going to add some in to this recipe, but I caution you, carrots take a lot longer to cook. So if you're going to put carrots in, either cut them thinly, and you're going to stir fry those first to get them cooked before you put in the peppers and the onions. Otherwise, your guests are going to be struggling on big chunky pieces of carrot that just are not cooked enough, and you're not going to be happy, and they're not going to be happy. For us, I just took some carrots and I just shaved them up. So I did shredded carrots. So that will cook just as fast. It'll add some green in for us, and I don't have to worry about it not being cooked well enough. So if you're a busy mom or a busy dad or single mom or a single dad or just single, call me. Just kidding. But it sucks being single, I'm telling you. Sometimes, especially in, when you're out as much as I am and you do what I do and you're involved in your community and you're the only guy without a boyfriend or a partner or a girlfriend or whatever, it's kind of sad sometimes. So call me. Anyways, we've got our onions, we've got our peppers, and those are all ready. The chicken's almost done. I'm going to show you what we've already done so you can see. So the cornstarch gives us this really lovely golden brown, and yet you don't have all that flour, so you get the sensation of a crunch without all of that extra flour weight. So let's take out what's left here. All right. And again, this is coconut oil, so we're not drenching it in any kind of bad oils, and we're going to let that drain out a little bit. The oil I have left, I'm going to just dump it. I still want a little bit in my pan, because the next thing I'm going to add in are my veggies. So we're just going to add in the peppers and the onions, and just let them start to go to town. So the great thing with this dish is it's super healthy. It's inexpensive. What do we have? We have an onion, 2 peppers, some carrots, some tomato sauce, a can of pineapple, and the chicken would probably be the most expensive thing. So you end up with a meal for 4, probably under 10 bucks, and it's super healthy, and everyone's going to enjoy it. So we've got our chicken cooked. We've got our onions and peppers cooking down. So now we need to make the sauce, the thing that binds it all together. So we started off with a ½ cup of just tomato sauce, just in the can. I buy a nice Italian tomato sauce, but again, this is not about, this doesn't have to be a super high quality tomato sauce. ½ cup. We're using a ¼ cup of that apple cider vinegar I told you about. So we're putting that right in. We're adding 3 tablespoons of garlic right in. We're adding 3 tablespoons of honey. This is probably where most of the sugar comes from, but it's only 3 tablespoons. 1, 2, and 3. And we are adding 2 tablespoons. I like low sodium soy sauce, just less salt. Soy sauce naturally has a lot of salt in it. So we're using 2 tablespoons of that. 2. And we're going to whisk that up together. So this is our sweet and sour sauce that we're making, and you're going to almost got me. I almost put my finger in my mouth, which I do all the time if I'm cooking just for me, but it's a little worse on TV. All right, it's perfect. That's all I can say. It's perfect. Those ingredients will work every time in that exact amount. So the only other thing I need to add to this sauce is cornstarch. So we're putting in about a tablespoon of cornstarch. And the reason for the cornstarch is when we put it into the hot pan, it will thicken up. It's not, again, not like flour where you end up with flour being all lumpy. Cornstarch will just naturally begin to thicken up. So about a tablespoon in that. Back to our veggies. I'm trying to be all fancy and I end up with vegetables all over my kitchen. But you know, until you try, you never know. I used to not be able to flip an egg, but I can do it now, so out of my pan. Sorry for that that was my phone ringing and I forgot to turn off the ringer. So if you want to add a little bit of salt and pepper to your sauce. And the other thing that we're going to end up adding in is also the pineapple. So you're going to drain that pineapple juice out of the pineapples because we're not putting that into the sauce. But I want you to save that pineapple juice because if you are going to use it, and I'll show you how in just a minute. So as you can see, we're getting these beautiful vegetables and all of this great color. The onions are starting to caramelize and it looks beautiful. The the reason I like doing these healthy dishes is, for many of you, you know, some of you don't, but I used to be a little bit larger of a boy and close to 200 pounds. I've lost at least 35 pounds, 40 pounds of that. And it was a lot of effort. And being French trained, I realized that really it was because of how I was trained to eat. I ate lots of creams and lots of butters and lots of flour and lots of fat, and lard was my best friend. And you could tell by my stomach back then. But I decided I would rework my recipes like we did today for this sweet and sour and create healthy food that's easy to make, because it doesn't have to be intimidating to make healthy food in your kitchen. This is one of those dishes you could get your kids in the kitchen. You could have everybody with a station, if they're old enough to be in the kitchen with knives. Teach your children how to cook. It's important. It's the life skill that they need to go back out into the world and have. You can't hope that you're going to find somebody else who cooks. All right? There's a lot of single people out there, lots of divorced people, lots of separated people, and guess what? You all have to cook. And sure, you can go buy lean cuisine and some of the other microwave dishes, but they're not healthy for you. They're not doing you any good, and they're expensive. You're spending $4, $5, $6, $7 a meal. That's crazy when you don't have to. Even if this is just for you, it will make a great meal for another day during your week, a lunch. You can take some to a coworker if that's what you want to do. Show off your cooking skills. It's great for a date. If you can make this your date, we'll just think you're great. Date great, yeah. All right, so we're going to continue to put this together. So we've got these lovely vegetables.
Carrot.
Huh?
Get carrot.
What? We've got these lovely vegetables. We're going to add that was Joe, my camera guy, going something, and I don't know what he was pointing at. It was very disruptive, though. Oh, I don't know. All right, so we've got our pineapple that we're putting in. I mean, that looks good enough to eat without even adding everything else that we're still going to add in. We're going to add our chicken. Add some carrots. We're going to add our sauce. Voila. And we're going to pop that back on the stove. Cover it up for a couple of minutes. And the last thing that we have to cut up is our green onions, and that's just for the top. So it's not something that's in the recipe, it's just designed to be for garnish on the top. And we want some of the green and some of the white. There we go. So one of the benefits for Joe is he gets to come and do my cameras, and then he gets to eat. So he always gets a good dish. So Joe, you get some sweet and sour chicken tonight. You won't talk now. You'll talk when I'm trying to do a show or point. But now he's back there like with his hand over his mouth going, oh no, don't make me laugh. Good help, I'll tell you. All right, so I already made some rice earlier. We made some white rice. You could do brown rice. You could do quinoa if you prefer quinoa. We just did some nice white long grain rice. A couple of bowls here. So you're going to give each person, when you're feeding them, about a cup of rice. Half a cup if you don't want to eat that much. Is that too much for you, Joe? Nope, I didn't think so. All right, so we've got our base here. We've got this beautiful dish over here. Everything's going together. here we go. I mean, the colors and the smell that is coming off of this is just amazing. This dish is going to come in under about 500 calories. So it's healthy for you. It's easy to make. Any date would be impressed with what you just did. I'm going to put a little bit of green onion over the top. Some sesame seeds. And voila, healthy, delicious, sweet and sour chicken. I hope you guys will try this. Please post it up on our website if you do. Share pictures. But please remember, for me to keep my spot going on with Private Favorite Chef, I need your votes. So go on to Facebook, like us, share us, follow us, but most important, vote for me, Chef Mitch, in the Favorite Chef competition. I'm going to bring home that title to Palm Springs, California. And if I win, $5,000 goes to Palm Springs Pride to help continue to keep Palm Springs Pride free for everyone who comes. So be sure and vote. Thanks for coming. I'll see you next time in the kitchen. Have a great week.